Welcome to our Posh podcast. I'm your host, Gabrielle, here with my co-hosts, my daughter, Marcella.
Hello.
My son, Chino.
Let's go.
My Puerto Rican adopted son, Bernie.
Ma, the meatloaf. Where's that?
And Spider.
Hello.
And our special guest today, Bernie's brother, Rolf.
All right.
And we are back with Rolf, and we are going to jump right into asking him all questions about being a firefighter and a battalion and all the things that come with it. He is a battalion chief at the Fort Worth Fire Department, and he has been a firefighter for 19 years. And when I started researching you, I saw this picture that is so touching on your Facebook that I guess one of your colleagues passed away, and you guys went to the funeral, and they're all standing in a perfect straight line, and it started pouring.
Yeah.
I mean, pouring, and they're all just standing there, and I was so touched by it. I'm like, my goodness.
Yeah, that was a firefighter captain who's a couple years older than I am, and he was recently, January, recently diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and so it was from healthy living to feeling okay and doing things to him passing away.
So fast.
Was months, and it was really quick, and it took us all by surprise, and it was a rough one. We've had several other line of duty deaths, not very many in Fort Worth. I mean, just recently in my 19 years, but this one kind of hit hard because Kevin, I've known for years, about 19 years. He got on right before me, and super cool guy. He's got a family, and so this was one of the closest people that I knew who passed away.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
We were not tight friends, but
I've
known him for 19 years. Yeah, wow. So it was a very popular guy, and it was just it's a line of duty death because he had an exposure to. We always have exposures to. Every time we go into a burning building or any kind of fire where smoke or unburned carbon or whatever is in the air, any smoke, it gets on our gear, it gets on our skin, it's absorbed through the skin. It's you can breathe it, even if it's in the air, it's getting absorbed through your eyes and everywhere. There's you're exposed, So we have an occupational hazard of some types of cancer and a lot of other things that don't do good things to us. With Kevin happened to be at a pretty bad Valley Solvents fire that we had. It was a big hazmat facility, a chemical facility that burned years ago, and I think 6 or 7 guys who were at that fire have been diagnosed with cancer.
Wow.
So and it wasn't a lot of interior firefighting in that one either. It was we
outside.
Stayed out because it was just bad stuff. So so that one kind of hit hard. So for that picture ended up being a pretty cool picture. It was after the service there. It was Weatherford or out that way. But we guys went to the actual to do the burial part.
It was not just
so
rain.
Bad.
It was like unbelievable.
Crazy rain. So but it was like, what do you do? So
yeah. Well, you guys put your life on the line to protect our communities, and I think a lot of people have a lot of respect for what you guys do, and everyone wants to thank you for your service all the time. And I was reading something, and I saw that someone actually said, what could people do to give firefighters a pay raise? Like that they don't get paid enough. Like what can communities do? What can regular people do to get them pay raises?
Yeah, that's an extremely political
Is it? It's
issue.
political? I don't want to talk political.
Well, that's not me. I'm not opposed to political conversations, but every municipality, every city, they all have their own. It's like a family. Every family has their own internal issues and stuff. And some like I have. I go to classes at the National Fire Academy in Emmitsburg, Maryland, for just professional development type of things. And I just completed a class for executive fire officer program. And so in that program, you get to meet chiefs from all over the world, chiefs from all over the country, but I've had chiefs from Japan,
Really?
or Brazil, and they're not so Brazil. They're more militarized, so it'll be a major. But representatives from different countries from all over, Australia. So it's super cool to talk to people about the things that they're going through, and so. I had a chief that's a friend of mine from Beverly Hills, and so they get paid on a different scale than we do, So
God, it's gonna be so much more, right?
Well,
cost of living's got to be insane.
Yeah.
Of course, in Beverly Hills.
No firefighter lives. No Beverly Hills firefighter lives in Beverly Hills. but
He's like, don't let me confuse you.
Well, you think even in Frisco or Plano, they do well. It's kind of. Can be a tough thing to get that. You normally enjoy the support of the community. Firefighting is an expensive business. There's a lot of equipment and stuff, but usually most of the cost is the people. The guys and stuff. So we appreciate that. We want to be in that, not in the lower part of the median, but kind of.
So now you're a battalion chief, and I looked at it and I didn't even know this. Battalion 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What does that mean?
Yes.
There's so many different stations.
Yeah. So it's
crazy.
So the way that we have it in the city of Fort Worth, and it's similar to other places, is the city is broken up geographically, and then they'll put on the east side is Battalion 4 in Fort Worth. Downtown area is where I work. That's Battalion 2, and so they break each side of the community up into different areas, and they'll assign a number to it.
How many fire stations are within a battalion?
It varies.
Okay.
In my battalion, I have 6, but
Is
so I
that
have
one of
6
the bigger
stations.
ones?
So I'm very dense with people. So on the east side, I had 7 stations, but less people by far, because each one of my stations had one company there, so 4 people on an engine or a truck or whatever. On the east side, I had one double company station. The double company station means at that station, there's an engine, which 4 guys on it, and a quint with 4 guys on it. A quint is just a bigger truck that has a big ladder on top of it, an aerial apparatus that I can set up. A quint.
Okay.
I
know if I ask it, I know anybody else will be asking.
Yeah, right.
I'm
That's
like,
good.
yeah.
That's
A
good.
quint has 5 functions. It just has an extra. That's where the 5 comes from. But anyway, so the quint, it has 4 guys on that as well. So at that one station, I had 8 guys. Every other station I had 4 people, just one apparatus or one engine. But in my new battalion, 2 of my stations are single company stations. Everyone else has multiple companies at them. So I have 8 guys at Station 1, 13 guys at Station 2,
Oh, goodness.
8 guys.
He has the most calls. You guys have the most calls. They have 815 calls. I was like going, what that? So much more. Like the second one has 446. He has twice as many.
So she's comparing all the chiefs to each other. Battalion 2, myself, we run twice as
Gabby
many calls.
does all her research.
That's pretty good. That's impressive. Yeah, Battalion 2, we run
Impressed, like, holy shit, I
twice
didn't
as
know that
many
at all.
calls as any other chief in the city, because we're downtown. We run a lot of.
So do you now, where you as a battalion chief, do you no longer go on the?
No, he totally goes on the stuff.
Oh, he does? You go to the truck.
So he's come by and visited with me sometimes, and when he's there, I'm like, if we get a call, you're coming with me.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so
Cool.
cool. With him?
I went on one call, but
We got dispatched, yeah.
And what's really cool about where his fire station is, I don't think most fire stations have this, but his is one of the oldest, or the oldest, right?
It's not the oldest, so it's one of the older stations.
From when
early 1900s.
Yeah, but it actually has the fire poles. Like you can actually slide down. It's massive.
Yeah, we have 3 poles.
It's really cool.
So the fire stations now don't have the poles anymore?
Most of our fire stations now are built. They're a bigger footprint, but they're one floor,
One
one
floor.
story.
This one's old school.
Yeah.
It's
They
super
say
cool.
that guys used to get injured going down
Right,
those
yeah,
poles.
you'll have
They
guys
were-
who will get injured. So you have older guys. So your firefighters, so there can be anywhere from 19, 18 to 55, ish years old. So the older guys are probably not sliding down the pole, because they don't want to twist them. They're taking the stairs.
That's so
so
crazy.
It's cool.
That
It's
is
really cool.
Yeah. So Battalion 2 is more dense. That's densely populated people wise, but also with firefighters, we have a lot of guys there.
So when I also read then when you get a call,
Mm-hmm.
you gone within 60 seconds. Correct? Is that a thing?
Yeah. So there's different benchmarks and like NFPA standards that are
okay.
What is that? What?
So
NFPA?
yeah, I don't want to get into that.
What was the acronym?
They're just basically standards to
How fast?
to see how response, how quickly you respond at stations for medical calls, for fire calls, for they take in consideration the dispatch times and all these different things. But Station 2 is a big station, so it's getting out of that station at the door pretty quick. It's sometimes the numbers a little bit higher because it's a huge station. But we get out of the house pretty quick.
Fast.
Fort Worth is extremely busy. We are busy. I mean, we're on the 14th, 15th largest city in the country right now. Fort Worth is.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either.
I didn't either.
Do you know how many people you have saved throughout your career?
You know what? I've been asked that a couple of times. I don't have a number. And it's funny because I've pulled some people out of burning buildings before. And the very first one is vivid to me, and I remember them all. But it was a man trying to. It was the house was on. Before you got there, and there's smoke showing from the one story wood frame residential structure with smoke coming out the front.
Your first fire?
No, not my first fire. My first save, where I'm
save.
actually pulling someone out of a fire. And it was a man. And you see, so we're pulling up. We pull what we call a big booster. It's an 1 3/4 line, a hose line, 1 3/4 around off the truck. There's 750 gallons of water on that truck to initiate a fire attack. And you're trying to get that fire attack done, the fire out or suppressed enough to where before that 750 gallons of water goes out.
How quick will that fire out?
It just depends on how big of a line you pull.
So on the line that you just said, how quick would that?
You have a few minutes. You got a few minutes of firefighting.
So is there someone? Sorry, I actually have a question.
I think it's so interesting.
So while it's shooting those 750 gallons off, it's giving you time. Is someone trying to find a fire hydrant to link into?
If you've ever been near a fire, any kind of emergency incident where there's multiple companies on scene, firefighting seems watching. It looks chaotic. It looks crazy. There's people running everywhere, and people running ladders here, and guys running there. And
It's like organized chaos.
it is a symphony, an orchestra.
Yeah.
And for my job now, one of my jobs is I don't go to the migraine calls. I don't go to.
You're never gonna see him again. You're never gonna see him.
I don't go to. My chest hurts or I have a
That's
chest
really
pain.
not nice.
I don't go. No, I don't. No, I'll just say this. I don't go to heart attacks. I don't go to heart attack calls. I'm not trying to marginalize your emergency. I'm not. But I will say this: I don't go to the regular medical calls that require one apparatus or even two apparatus. But anything that takes 3 or 4 bigger response structure fires, commercial fires. I'm also, being downtown, we have other specialties are downtown. So the hazmat team is that's me. Our guys are the hazmat team. Our station is a primary hazmat team. So
Explain, what does it mean?
Okay.
What calls would you go out on?
For a hazmat team?
Yeah.
So for the chief, we're going to respond to any multiple. So for fires, I go and kind of coordinate that. But for a hazmat call, so we have a hazmat team, a technical rescue team, a high angle rescue, those kind of things, and then we also have
What rescue?
Technical rescue team, like high angle rescue.
High angle.
What is that?
There's a window washer who washes stuff. And
I was
all of a
going to
sudden
ask about that. Oh
all of
my
a sudden,
God, I don't
like
know
in
how
the
they
movies,
do
all of a sudden it breaks and he's hanging by a cable.
This
and
does
crazy.
happen.
Oh yeah,
This has happened. You have seen it?
Okay. So
Oh my gosh, I'm freaking out over that one.
This could turn into 4 episodes.
I
of this whole thing.
know. You're gonna have to
a few
come
months
back.
ago. Okay, so a few months ago in Fort Worth, we're at their what was it? At their in front of I forget what hotel it was, but anyway, so they're doing construction on the front of it, and they're repairing some of the this veneer masonry structure up front. But they have these workers that are working off scaffolding, and they're putting bricks up, and they are clipped into a secure structure up, not the actual scaffolding. And there's an elevator that's on the externally attached. This elevator that runs up and down, and
I would just die.
the elevator. So they
Special
had
person to do that. For
Yeah.
sure.
So they had this veneer brick. A veneer brick is just it's a covering that's not structurally necessary. It's just pretty, like most people's houses, a residential house. That brick, it's not really. Only thing that's holding it up is itself. It's not structurally providing anything. Anyway, so some of the brick fell off the wall and destroyed the elevator and scaffolding they were standing on. So it breaks it. It goes down. The falling bricks hit a woman who's walking by. So you have a medical issue down there.
How high up was
this
it?
collapse? This is 4 or 5 stories up.
Holy crap.
And then so you have these guys who are hanging. These workers are hanging off the ledge, and there's some people recording it. There's video on it later. And so we get dispatched on that call. And what you don't see, and the guy eventually falls.
He fell?
Well, he lets go. He has his safety belt, catches him. So he falls a few feet, boop, it just stops him. So he's held there by his,
That's crazy.
You could have worded that differently.
Yeah, well, I know. You're right. That was part of the storytelling. Yeah.
What you say?
He said you could have worded that differently instead of just like he's hanging. Then all of a sudden, no,
He
he's
fell.
safe.
Yeah, he fell. He died, but
It was like he let go and his safety harness held him on. It's
technically
like
he
just
fell. Yeah, he
Fell
did
onto the
fall.
big trampoline we had underneath.
He fell, and his harness saved his life, and his coworkers pulled him up. And when we got there, we provided care for the person who was injured, and of course went up there and pulled the rest of the guys off of there. But that's kind of a day in the life of a downtown company. Things like that don't happen outside of high-rise structures.
But have you
Downtown.
ever had one that was stuck on the high rise, like on the
Oh yeah,
30th floor
yeah,
or
they've-
something insane?
They've done those things too. Now,
How do you help them out of that? I don't even understand it.
So the guys that we have downtown, we have highly trained, specialized training for this stuff. These guys are like these special forces,
Like
fire department,
Spider-Man.
special forces. The guys I work with, they're in great shape. They work out a lot. They really put a lot of energy and time into the educational portion of the job. So not only that, when you're firefighting, you just think about it. I mean, most lay people haven't really thought about it, but anything you can call 911 for, you can get a firefighter to go to. Firefighter's going to show up.
I've also watched like that test, like it's on YouTube that you have to do, like the firefighters have to do, like when they're wanting to be one. That is insane.
What do they do, Marcel?
Well, you'd have to. Well, you'd have to ask him. But I mean, I don't know. I couldn't describe it to you. I'd leave stuff out. But it seemed like you have to be in shape
Yeah, I mean,
and not afraid of heights.
Well, you think about it. Well, the people that were wanting to, and that is one of the things that you have to make sure that you got to check that box that you can. One of the things that will cut you out is you got to. We have 100.
They show it on YouTube.
Yeah, you got to
The
climb this
test.
ladder to get to the end of it and be okay with it. Some people are like, you know what, I'm good. And it's one thing to look up there and say, yeah, I can do that. But when you get up there,
Yeah.
the ladder is, as it extends, the ladders
Smaller.
they get smaller and smaller because
They have to fit inside.
Exactly.
Oh
They
my
have to
God.
fit.
No.
So when you're
I never thought
105
about
feet
that.
out or 100 and
Forget it.
so
I-
and the furthest parts of that ladder, I am much wider than. So I'm walking. You're climbing up a ladder, and it's like your shoulders are hanging over each side.
And you have to be calm when you're up there.
Yeah, you do. And every time you take a step, the ladder starts to sway back
Oh
and
my
forth,
gosh,
sway
I
back and
can't
forth. And yeah, it's something else
That's
for
nuts.
sure.
Yeah.
So not only is he battalion chief though, he's also part of the Texas task force. So when you have like the hurricanes and the craziness, he actually like heads that up.
Well, so
like
I'm
in
on.
Texas?
So Texas has a task force
Right.
of specialized responders
Yes.
who
Tornadoes.
So when we have usually it's flooding or hurricanes that
Did
come
you go
in
to
town.
Houston for that?
Yeah, I was
you
there for
did?
2 weeks.
Wow.
I was in a dry suit on a boat for 2 weeks.
Oh
on
my
a
gosh.
Zodiac
It's
boat.
crazy.
There's
It's
inflatable
crazy the
boats
stuff he
and,
does.
Fun. I mean, I say fun. It's like
Fun.
Well, you love it. You
I
can
do.
tell
You
love
can
it.
tell I'm passionate about it. I can
Yes.
talk about this all day long because I love what I do. The other day I was out with a couple of buddies and they're like, "Hey, do you have to work tomorrow?" I go, "Yeah, I can." They're like, "Oh man, you got to work tomorrow, huh?" I was like,
I love it.
Yeah.
I get to
"Yeah,
work tomorrow.
I don't have. I mean,
I love
I've been doing
it.
this 19 years and never, not one time said, "Oh gosh, I gotta work tomorrow."
But you never have the same day twice.
You know, it's not all like, like if you ever watch Rescue Me or something like that. It's like every time you go out in a call where you're saving somebody, to somebody's life. That's not.
But I mean,
real
like
life,
you don't see the same person every day. You don't
right. You're right.
Because I feel like that is what people probably hate.
It is not monotonous.
Yeah.
You're not in an office all day long. A lot of my job now is more administrative, but I'm still getting out with the guys. I view what I do now as I'm a team builder. Every one of those companies, every one of those things,
And you
I am
have to be
optimizing men. I'm optimizing not just men, but women in my battalion too. I'm optimizing teams that they work not only just well together, but they work in a group. When I have multiple companies together, that it's precise. There's precision.
I like his little symphony thing.
He's really good.
I also read that there's some drama in those stations
There can
too.
be, when you live with somebody a third of your life,
Yeah.
there can be some drama.
Can you imagine like when there's an emergency, people are fighting? You're like, are you kidding?
Yeah, we've had. Nothing crazy like that, but you have some. You think about it, you have some guys from Type A, some personality
I'm
guys
sure.
working together, right? And that is one of the reasons why we had the rank structure. Because it's real easy to have a disagreement, but when one has rank, you need to be courteous and professional. And that's the thing about it. We want our guys to be professional. I just happen to be blessed and lucky. I think it was totally a God thing that I got hired on with the Fort Worth Fire Department. I just happen to live here. Fort Worth is one of the best departments in the country, and
Wow.
and I didn't know that. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea, and I can say that because deploying with Texas Task Force 1, being on a water strike team, I've been deployed to all these hurricanes.
Ralph is
Rita,
like special
Ike,
forces for the fire department.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
it's
so
legit.
cool.
I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm saying it.
Nah,
is
that's
that
legit though.
You should totally.
I have my brother to do that. So, but I've responded on calls with people from the London Fire Brigade. Is that amazing or
Yes,
what? I think that's so cool.
amazing.
Yeah.
For Hurricane Ike and Rita,
Yes.
those was years ago. These guys came down to help. Maybe from Tennessee, from California, several from California, but from all over the world come to support. Right, so there's downtime. There's downtime during some of those hurricanes, and you start talking. It's totally natural to say. So how do you guys do? Exchanging time or vacation, leave, and pay scales, and what kind of apparatus do y'all use, and uniforms do you wear? And I've not one time in all those years, and I've been doing the dive team and those kind of things since 2003, 2002, and not one time ever. And I'm talking about FDNY and Phoenix Fire Department and LA City, LA County, all these big departments of it. Not one time I've ever said, you know what, I'd much rather work over there.
Oh.
I wish I worked for FDNY, or I wish I worked for Chicago Fire, or I wish I worked for these other iconic places that you hear about. Top to bottom, you start looking at all the different things.
Yeah.
I always know that, but you know what?
You,
I'm good. I'm really happy. I mean, I did this a lot when I played ball, and I played football at TCU. Your coach would say, you know what? You know how many thousands and thousands of people want to do what you do right now? And it's true. Who
is
don't want to
true.
play college football,
Yes.
high school football?
Yeah.
Right? We all did. I think there's a lot. There's a lot of the same thing can be said about firefighting. There's a lot of guys would like to do that, but they either physically can't do it, or with a test they couldn't do it, or whatever. So I feel very blessed to be able to be in the profession that I'm in. It fit in aptitude wise with kind of how I'm wired,
yeah.
and it allows me to get immediate feedback. There's that being able to help someone and see how you're helping them, even though the people are not always saying thank you, but and that's not what we do this. We don't do it because we want someone to say, hey,
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're
By the
welcome.
way,
Hey, you're breathing right now?
You're welcome.
No, that's not why you do it. But it is, I will say, it's immediately gratifying
Yeah.
to know, because you look at your team after you're done, and you're like,
we did a good job.
badass guys,
Yeah.
badass job, guys. Y'all did awesome. And I love to do that. Now I can see, I'm looking at my people. I'm looking at my
Yeah.
teams. I'm looking at my crews working together. And I can say, man, Engine 5 kicked ass.
Well, no wonder you like going to work.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
very cool.
It is exciting. I love what I do. It's fun. I'm happy. The people I work with extremely intelligent guys, people who are highly motivated. They love doing what they do, and it just pumps me up. You can't tell.
Now, are there women firefighters?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, there are.
Yeah. We have several. We have I couldn't tell you the number, but we have we just hired recently. Just had hired.
And they do the same test.
Yeah, same test. We just recently redid our entry exam. So yeah, but they're doing the same physically. They're doing, and so a couple of them, or one in particular right now, is one of my rookies. Is one of my we call them vacation relief or swing personnel because they swing from one station to another station. Well, one of them right now is one of mine, and she's done a really great job. I'm trying to put her in busy stations, and she knows this. Is like I'm trying to get you as much experience as possible.
Yeah,
I want to see you. I challenge my people who work. If you work in Battalion 2 on C
I bet
shift,
they love you because
I
I
bet
can't
they
imagine
do.
that everybody is like you are right now.
I'm
I'm like, oh my god, that's so cool. But they're
know.
probably really lucky to have you. Like,
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate
I
that.
feel that
We
too.
all want to be liked, but
I was gonna say the same thing.
we don't. We all want to be liked, but I don't have any problem having tough conversations with folks about that.
But you seem like a good motivator, which is always nice when.
And he doesn't put up with crap. I can tell.
Yeah.
Well, for me, the bar's high, and I tell so when people want to come to the battalion, and it's a very popular battalion. People want to work in that battalion.
Battalion 2, guys.
Battalion 2, they'll whenever there's a vacancy there, people want to put in for work. I make them come into my office and make them sit down, and we're going to talk.
Yeah.
Because what I have with everybody, from a firefighter to a captain who wants to come to my battalion, every single person will have a similar conversation, but it's going to be, here is the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, here is the bar. You were coming to Battalion 2, and previously it was Battalion 4, and this is the Fort Worth Fire Department.
Yeah.
And I know that some other guys expect different things, but here's what I expect from you. And we're going to go down the list of things I expect from them. And what can I do to support you? Because one of the things I want is for you to be as successful as possible.
Right.
But if they're successful, if you're helping them attain their goals, everybody wants to be good at their job, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
We all want to be good at what we do. I work in a profession where I can help them achieve their goals. And whenever they're working in these optimal teams, our goals get achieved.
What is the craziest call you've ever had?
I was about to ask that too.
Craziest and scariest.
I don't know. That's a tough one. I've had lots of different calls and lots of crazy ones where you have ones that are really funny. You have ones that are really dangerous. You have ones where you see really, really bad things.
Yeah.
And that's a tough one for a firefighter. We have, I can think of things where it just horrible things you don't want to repeat.
Right.
But some things that hit you harder than others are usually when kids get hurt.
That's what I've heard.
You have kids and like the same age of your kids, or they might favor one of your kids, or just something like that. I've had bad fatality accidents, suicide calls where people who weren't successful at killing themselves, and you're working on them, or bad car wrecks and things like that.
What was the scariest, like for you personally, like where you could have been in severe danger?
I can answer that one with no. I won't hesitate with that one. So I was a lieutenant on Engine 7, which is a dive. It's just a regular engine on the east side. It's a busy engine, but they also specialized in swiftwater rescue. And we were dispatched to a commercial structure fire, at a water treatment plant in Fort Worth. And we were in a room, in a structure where it was multiple stories, and it was weird. I'm good.
Okay.
They have them.
Oh, they have it. Oh,
We have our gallons.
sorry.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay. So it was like one of those movies. You're going through the structure and fires are falling from. It was really a ton of metal and concrete and stuff, because it was these furnaces. There were furnaces that were burning the waste from their water, the stuff they're getting out of the water and stuff. So there were some things on the roof that caught fire. Well, we got the fire all put out. the furnace was not completely burning. It wasn't burning efficiently how it's supposed to burn. But it was a summer. It was extremely hot, and fire was out. There was a truck that was doing some truck work on the roof, and we had a chance to come out. Since we had the booster, we were putting the actual fire out. We're first in, so they gave us a rest, change out our air bottles, get a drink of Gatorade, and so some of the older guys were on that truck, and they were working on the roof. So I was done. Our guys had got some air. We were a little rehabbed. So I told the captain, said, "Hey, Cap, you mind if we can? Why don't you get you guys a break and we'll go up there and finish up the job?" Thanks, man. We go to the roof. Fire's out, and so we take off our coats. We have our bunker pants are still on, helmets still on. We take off our coats because it's 106 degrees and it's hot.
God.
And we're on a roof now. And we're working. We're covering up these scuttle holes that had burned through and plastic was dripping down. But we're covering them up so, rain doesn't get in and further damage the interior of the structure. But while we were up there, they set up a ladder, So our way, you always want to have two ways off a roof. You're with two ways of egress. Well, one was the way we came up that scuttle hole. And the other one was the ladder. Well, unbeknownst to us, there was engineers that were there from the water treatment plant that were trying to, in their eyes, they're like, you know what? What we'll do. Let's run a bunch of air through those furnaces and blow some of that gunk out of there and see if we can get it back going again. Well, we were on the roof. It was only engine 7. So it was me and the engineer was not up there. It was me and 2 firefighters. Lieutenant, 2 firefighters were on the roof. And they start blowing air through this. Well, it sounds like a jet engine going off. And this baffle starts opening up. So this little baffle over this pipe starts flapping. I hear this like a jet engine, like that. And then flames start coming out of it. So I'll show you a picture here in a little bit.
Goodness.
But
I
have a picture of this because somebody from the ground 3 floors down took the picture. Now, the column of fire that came out of this pipe was about as tall as a telephone pole, and it's right next to the scuttle hole that we came through, so we couldn't go through it.
Oh my God.
And the ladder was set on the far side of that column of fire. So me and my 2 firefighters were
trapped.
We were trapped on the roof,
Oh my
and it was the hottest I've ever been. I didn't have a coat on. It was about a 3-story jump, and everything around us was concrete. So it's a 3-story jump onto the concrete. So you'll be breaking bones and things. And that goes into your decision making if you live.
What do I feel like doing? Like breaking my foot.
So
Burn or look out.
So one of my firefighters.
Were you starting to burn?
And I felt like I was extremely sweating and very extremely hot. That was the most radiant energy that I've ever been exposed to. And another unique situation there is that the 3 people that were on my crew, the 2 of my firefighters were out of my academy class. When we got hired, we all went to the same academy together. So there's even a closer bond with those
Right.
guys. And one of my buddies, he says, get low. And he grabs me by my back. I'm in between him. I'm in between the fire and my guys. So I was in between them. And he's like, let's get low. And we just dive towards the corner there's the furthest corner that we can get away from. The guys lay down and I lay down on top of them. And I was I get on the radio and I'm telling them to shut that off. And I was just waiting. It was just this column of fire. And I was waiting to catch fire.
What?
No way.
That's what I thought. I thought my skin's going to be burned. I was kind of mentally preparing for
God, that's crazy,
Oh,
man.
what?
I don't think I've heard this one ever.
I did look over the edge, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna lay her on top of I'm gonna lay right here on top of Paul and Jimmy, and it got hot. It got real hot, and then I think I said I'm not sure exactly how I said it, but there was no need for clarification or interpretation. The level of the level of emergency for us on the roof to get that thing turned off. And so they did get it turned off, and there was no burns. It was totally a miracle because I had abrasions on my elbows from just diving on the ground, on top of the guys and stuff.
I can't imagine how hot.
I couldn't tell you how hot it was either, but I will say this: the guy who took the picture was down on the
pull the picture up.
Yeah,
I will. But he says, he goes, we ran behind the engine because it was so hot on the 3 floors down. You know, when they're further away, it was so hot. We ran behind the engine. We're behind the engine.
Crazy.
So I know that God had an angel covering us up because we should have been blistered.
Wow.
We should have had 2nd-degree burns.
That's scary.
That's crazy.
That is really
My
crazy.
Goodness.
Yeah, I'll have to dig through here to find it.
So,
somewhere in here.
On a different note, I was. They always say that they call the fire department for cats in the trees, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then someone said, actually, I don't know why they call us because we've never seen. Have you ever seen a skeleton in a tree?
Yeah.
They always get
Cat
down.
skeletons. Yeah, you don't see that very often. That is true. I've heard that a lot too.
They will always find a way to get down.
Yeah,
That
true.
is funny.
The funny thing is, I've responded to a bird stuck in a tree.
No, you have not.
That's a lie.
Yeah, I have. No,
That's a lie.
That's what I thought too. Like, I said, Lieutenant, we're going to birds stuck in a tree. So it was an exotic bird that had its wings clipped. And it got out. And
That's funny.
And they weren't worried about it falling and hurting itself. It was an expensive bird, and they were wanting us. We got it, and it pooped all over this guy's shoulder. It was a big bird. It was like a humongous
parrot or something.
I forget what kind of. It was some kind of
Like
tropical exotic bird.
Now, do you have any safety tips that are the most important as a battalion of the fire department? Do you have tips for every one of us
that
are
say
the most important?
Just off the top of my head, I would say, if you have kids, or you don't have to have kids, but a lot of times when you have kids, they want to have their doors open. Crack the door when they're going to bed. Night lights and the door kind of open. The best thing to do is keep the doors closed.
Really?
Why?
Oh yeah, and I'll tell you why. Because
I've never known this.
yeah, if you can close all the doors, I've been to many fires where you'll have one room or several rooms well involved and burned up, but a door keeping the heat and smoke and the flow of heat and from going. So if you had just someone alive and sleeping in a bedroom, hot air rises, the smoke goes to the ceiling, expands and fills up that ceiling area, and starts banking down. And as it banks down, it just gets hotter and hotter until all that smoke is fuel. And when that fuel ignites, now you have. But if you could keep that smoke and fuel from going into that bedroom, it's got to go, through, underneath a door or through a door, burn through it. There's a lot. You're buying a lot more minutes of time. There have been several times where we've had a chance to, be notified, see the fire, be notified, respond, pull a booster, put the fire out, and you're going through and searching. You open up a door and it's like you can tell there was a fire in there. You can tell there's a fire in that whole in the rest of the house.
I have done this wrong my whole entire life. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Thank God you guys did not get caught in a burn fire.
Hopefully, you'll
Everybody
never
needs
even
to know that, like in
I
normal
know.
life.
Yeah.
That should be like a normal thing to tell people.
It's sometimes. I mean, even if you got to close the door later on after your kid goes to sleep, but leaving your doors
But I
closed
always
is the way to go.
open doors. Open doors. Oh my gosh.
Well, you think that just allows more
Wow.
freely the smoke to move more freely. So,
Wow.
Unbelievable.
mhm. Yeah.
That one is unbelievable. Oh, wow.
Anything else off the top of your
There's
head?
that, I mean,
Like that is kind of like that people don't really know much.
mean
Maybe.
the basics. I mean that's. I mean.
Besides, yeah. I guess the doors closed is a good one.
That's the one that jumps out at me. The people are always like, "Oh, I didn't think about that at all."
Yeah, I never knew
that's
that.
Actually, backwards. You hear that a lot. That's a typical response. But yeah, I could actually start thinking of different things and different
Areas.
specific areas of like high water stuff. People used to be very confident in their Jeeps or their trucks or their SUVs to drive through some water that's moving. They feel very confident. Oh, I'm good. I'm gonna, I got an H2. I'm good. And no, it didn't take very much water to lift up a vehicle and start moving it. And it didn't take very much. You don't have to move it off of a road very far to where you're in trouble.
Really?
And you're not gonna. You can't. get out of that situation, and the terrain might be really bad for it. I'm doing a lot of body recoveries on swift water calls too, where people they get in just turned around and went the other way. They've been fine, but I'm busy, or I really want to do this. I want to get this done quickly. They're not patient.
I have too much to do.
That is a terrifying thought in my head
scary.
to be in a car and in water.
Yeah, you gotta have a plan. That's another thing is just establishing a plan with your family and saying, hey, look, if we do have a fire, this is where we're gonna meet. And here's some different exits of. One thing I did with my boys was when I got old enough to be able to open a window, teach them how to do it. And I think that's counterintuitive a little bit. You don't want to teach your kids how to open doors and windows and how to climb out of them. But it's kind of like gun safety kind of a thing. It's like, look, we own a gun. If you ever ran across it, I want you to at least know what the heck's going on and know what's safe. Opening a window and teaching your daughter or your son, hey, because what happens whenever they wake up in the middle of the night and the smoke detector's going off and they can't get through their bedroom door because it's hot. Yeah. They open up a front door and there's fire. They close it. What are they going to do? Mom and dad can get to the door. Dad's going to have to run around the house and open up that window. And that's if he's not doing other things, having his own issues. So you teach your son, and this is just a scary idea when you think about your son or your daughter having to navigate through this mentally. On a live type of an event, but practice and actually having a plan and walking through it. All right,
Saves
man.
Lives.
We don't just stand up. Crawl out, get out of your bed and stay low because you want to crawl under the smoke. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, yeah. It's going to burn your eyes a little bit, so be ready for that. Okay. And there's your window. Remember, we know where your window is, and this is where you're going to crawl. And you can feel up here, and this is how you unlock it.
Do fires start in homes easier than you could imagine? Is it very easy? Because I think in my day to day, I'm like, oh, it doesn't happen. Well, I don't know. I'm curious as to
it's really
is it very
easy.
simple?
It's extremely easy. Kitchen fires and cooking fires and electrical fires on the walls you don't even know are going. That can happen. With the advent of new technology and lighter construction, building construction, everything is built to be more lightweight and stronger. Stronger and more cost effective. And those things are all wonderful things, but most of the time, that's where you're robbing Paul to pay Peter, or Peter to pay Paul, however you said that. Where you're giving stuff up is on the fire side of things. The ladder weight construction is not good for fire resistance.
Okay.
Lighter weight I-beams and the cheaper kind of the trusses and stuff that we have in our roofs and stuff like that. It's all lightweight things, and a lot of those things are put together. They're not even nailed together. Sometimes they're glued together. So that's a strong bond. Not when you're talking about fire.
Yeah.
Because that's just gonna delaminate. It's gonna melt the glue, and it's gonna So, it's fires happen quick when you're cooking. People will fry things up. Well, who's going to make some bacon or whatever? We're frying things up, and I'm texting somebody or checking my social media, and then all of a sudden you have a fire, and
it moves fast. You can't just be like.
Yeah, because you have a lot of fire going on. It's a grease fire.
That's why Marcella doesn't cook.
To prevent fires.
Well, you come back from I'll go to the bathroom real quick. Let me come back, and you have your kitchen's halfway on fire, and it's vertically extending into through the cabinets and into a soffit area and into the attic, and you don't know where it's going. But people try to put it out themselves, and they're wasting this time. Well, where's the extinguisher again? And how do I use it? And it's or to carrying grease out to the backyard in the pot.
Is it true that and I don't know if I heard this wrong, but that fire department will actually come and check your fire
extinguisher?
No, your fire alarm.
Oh, your smoke detectors.
Your
fire alarms as well. Yeah, so. Something we try to do when I did make the migraine calls, and I did is whenever I go into someone's house for whatever type of call, and a lot of houses that I'm in, probably not where you guys live, because where you guys live, but you can't just reach up and touch the ceiling.
How do you know where we live? Okay,
I'm right there, all right.
Right.
So it's good to practice with a fire extinguisher.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is a lot of times I can reach up. and touch an 8-foot ceiling. I can do that pretty easily. But if you hear something chirping, or may even ask, hey, when's the last time you changed your batteries on your smoke detector? Oh, I don't know. Do we have batteries in that thing? So I'll just have, hey man, just switch out their batteries. Or if it's chirping while we're there, we're definitely gonna switch out batteries.
Yeah.
But we'll test them every 6 months during daylight savings time
call
stuff.
them.
That's what we want to do. Yeah, we'll come out.
I think
and check
it's
those
really
out.
cool.
Yeah, it's
I
a
live
good
in an
service.
apartment, and every time the fire alarm goes off, I'm like, shut up, and I just want to go back to sleep.
It's so
annoying.
easy.
But
that
you have
you
someone you can call at your apartment, right? Change
What?
it? You have someone you can call.
I don't have one in my
Oh, I
apartment.
thought you said you have one in your apartment.
No, I'm saying like when the alarms go off when they're like testing them,
Oh,
I
yeah.
want to kill someone. I'm like,
Yeah.
That's terrible.
So
Marcelo.
in
what,
y'all's-
am I supposed to leave? It's never anything.
Only if you
Yeah,
smell
but how do
smoke.
you know?
If it's hot and you smell smoke, then
Okay,
leave.
that's what I'm, yeah.
Just kidding.
Oh, I was like, okay.
Then it's too late, you weirdo.
I'll hang from my balcony.
Oh my
I'm sure some
God.
firefighter will come and rescue you.
You're not going to have a problem. You'll be rescued.
You'll be one of the first they
I'm on
rescue.
the 5th floor. I mean, yeah,
5 floors in your apartment complex?
6.
Really?
Mm.
Oh, you're in
Legacy
you're
West.
Legacy West, that's right.
Our fire trucks would be able to reach you.
Yeah.
Would be able to reach you. There's some that wouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
So
Scary.
you got to have an aerial to set that up. But yeah. But yours, you're in your apartment. They're hardwired, not just batteries. So,
Yeah.
And so you have 2 types of power. You'll be hardwired to your and then you also have batteries in case it backs up. A lot of people in their regular houses, they're just running off a battery.
Yeah.
And so they don't test them.
And they always chirp in the middle of the night, and you
It's
want
so
to
annoying.
right.
crazy.
So they pull them off the wall
Yep.
and they'll put them in a closet,
Yep.
put a pillow over
Yep.
them, and then whenever they actually have a fire, that's actually one of the things we asked for, during our investigation of a structure fire, is one of the modules is checking to see, did they have a detector? Did it work? Did it actually wake them up? Because a lot of studies you're hearing is that children aren't waking up during smoke detectors aren't waking children up. They sleep right through a
Through
smoke
'em.
detector.
Dude,
Oh,
my
wow.
jet can sleep through anything. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
That's
They get
scary.
into that REM sleep when you're not waking them up.
Yeah.
So
One more question about safety. In Dallas-Fort Worth, when it ices, I saw you posted a picture on a December 31st, you guys were working 12 major accidents because people, they insist on driving on these roads. Here, you can't drive when it's icy here.
People don't know how to drive. If it's
know
like
that's the
fractionally,
problem.
yeah, people are horrible drivers. In Texas specifically.
But when it's icy, it's really scary because no one's used to it. The tires are not right.
No.
Everything.
So I'm supposed to listen to you when you're like, you can't go anywhere.
yeah, it's,
Right,
it's,
Ralph?
can you drive
you
normally?
please?
I will help you out with your daughter here.
Tell them not to drive when it's icy.
Yeah, that would be my suggestion. Is sometimes you might be it's just like when this guy's like, hey, I want to get a motorcycle. Look, man, you can be like this awesome motorcycle guy and do everything right, but it just takes one knucklehead not paying attention or someone who's not good at it. And then, because there's no room for little mistakes.
Have you been to that a lot? Motorcycles?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. That's probably one of the worst calls. And whenever you ask, what's the worst thing you've seen?
That's it.
The worst thing I've ever seen was a motorcycle wreck. It was a motorcycle wreck with 2 people on the back. Yeah, you don't want to hear the details
Nope.
of that.
I do, but
Yeah,
you can tell me later.
when the mics
Off
go
air.
up, we can talk
Off
all
air.
about it. But yeah, just like a motorcycle thing, avoid just not getting.
I just mentioned I thought it'd be cool to have like something like not a crotch rocket, but something.
Yeah,
sweeter.
your sexy
No.
level would go even higher than it is.
way
Probably.
higher,
I don't
way
know.
higher.
No,
There's not too much way higher. But if
your sexy level.
yeah, his sexy level is high.
Oh my goodness.
Same thing with ice. Getting on the road, you might do everything right.
Yeah,
but you
someone
just go in the
Somebody
wrong
else.
area. You go in the
Yeah.
wrong. Man, now you're. I've seen people stuck on their driveway. They can't get out their driveway, or they've driven to 30 minutes and can't get into their driveway.
Yeah.
It's just like one little ramp or that one little area that gets you sideways or the wrong way or into an accident. This is you're looking back and saying, this was not worth it.
Not
Me
worth
go
it.
and grab some hot chocolate from Kroger's. It was not
Right.
worth it at all.
Right.
So, Yeah, plan ahead of time. Keep a track of your weather and
Starbucks, though,
stuff.
it's well worth it.
I need that right now.
Yeah, I think for North Texas, for this DFW area, another tip is I'd have weather apps. I do have weather apps. Have them all over your phone. Have a couple of them, some that you trust, and keeping in touch with the weather is going to save you some little angst that possibly could happen whenever all of a sudden now you hear hail. We're expecting rain. If you knew ahead of time, you can kind of prepare.
Yeah.
Make sure your car's in the garage and those kind of things.
No, we need all the cars out.
For
My husband's business.
Okay. So
Leave your cars out.
Don't get a weather out.
And then call my husband. Get your car
Pray
fixed.
for hail.
Yeah, we pray for hail.
That's good. Yeah.
So, on that note, we're going to call Miss Polly.
Oh.
Let's see how we can tie in a
Right?
Polly question with this firefighter conversation.
I can't read it.
Uh-oh, Miss Polly.
Hello.
Yay!
There she is.
Yay! There I am.
This is Penis and Pussy Talk.
With Miss Polly.
Miss Polly, I have a question that has nothing to do with firefighters.
Darn it. Okay.
Darn it. Unless you have one.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't have a firefighter right now. Dang it.
Darn it. I wanted to know so that our listeners know what it means. How would you describe someone who is sexually literate?
Oh.
I don't know what that means.
Sexually literate.
She's going to
Well,
explain
it could
it.
mean a variety of things, but in my opinion, sexual literacy would mean someone who is cognizant of their sexual health, their sexual, what am I trying to say here? Knows how to say what they want from a partner, they're cognizant of disease and prevention and just all things to do with their sexual health and sexual education.
So we should all be like that.
Oh my God, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, we're
So
not.
It's a good thing.
I spend a lot of my time educating people on a lot of those issues
Because people make it seem like it's a bad thing to talk about it. And it's like awkward and uncomfortable for most people.
It's
Not
awkward,
us.
It's uncomfortable.
Ever.
We're the most
Literate.
For the most part. Well, especially even like
Except for my brother.
I'm in the panhandle.
He's getting there.
It's hard with your mom and sister sitting next to you.
Yeah, my eyes cut over to him. And she's like, "Are you uncomfortable?"
Makes it a little harder.
He's used to it from us.
Mm.
We're not so open.
I don't know how used to it. He's not used to it yet. He'll get better at it.
I was always impressed I'm still impressed how just normal you guys are around each other. This, especially,
The sexual
with,
stuff?
yeah, with the content that we have, I'm like, it's just amazing.
You know, it's funny because even in my family, it's kind of weird I don't have an issue with it, but everybody else in my family looks at me like, okay, can we not talk about sex? And I'm like,
what's funny though is like
why?
grown adults, like male or female, like older people, when you bring something up, get very like giggly or look away, or they get very, very, very uncomfortable when it comes to.
No one talks
talking
about it, though. Very few people talk about it.
I do,
But it's so,
No question about that.
It's healthy. It's healthy to talk about it.
it's important.
especially where I work, because people come in and ask me, and sometimes I have to like really be, very blunt about, and very medical terminology when dealing with people, because it puts me on a level of professionalism that makes it comfortable for them to talk about. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it
Yeah, of
does.
course.
Do you have any questions, Rolf? For Miss Polly?
Sexual questions.
I don't have any questions. I think I'm pretty good on that.
No ED
Her subject matter.
issues.
She goes, no ED
That's too
issues.
funny. The clinical term is flaccid.
know.
Flaccid.
He's like,
You
no,
put the
thank you.
penis and the vagina, and then you move it all about.
feel like a subject matter expert on that.
Do the hokey pokey.
And exactly. I'm going to teach you how to do the hokey pokey with
Miss
penis
Polly,
in the vagina.
I saw I follow a medical MD Instagram, and there was a surgery that they had to perform emergency surgery, and they pulled out the biggest cucumber out of someone's anal cavity because they
that stuff happens.
What?
I'm talking, but hold on.
The firefighters see that a
I
lot
am
too.
talking a
Look at his
cucumber
face.
that is this size, but how does it get sucked up your asshole?
How does it?
Okay,
Because-
Gino is dying right now.
What?
Gino's not used to it.
I'm telling
Ralph's
you
like,
right
what
now,
in the
Are you
world?
ready for the answer?
But I want to know how it
Are
gets
you ready for
in
the
there where you have
answer?
to have
Okay,
emergency
here's-
surgery.
She's
here's
telling
the
you.
thing.
I know.
I'm telling you right now, and this is what I tell everybody that talks about, they come in and they want to do anal play. They want to get into the anal. I'm like, which just seems to be a big thing. And I'm like, it's okay. I mean, the anus is full of nerves and it can be pleasurable. However, the colon and the sphincter have a natural sucking motion. So it will suck. Anything you put into it, it will try to suck it in. Hence the reason butt plugs and all of those things like that have the little base at the bottom that's the flange to prevent that from happening. Because obviously somebody got idiotically stupid and decided, I'm going to put a cucumber up my butt instead of a proper...
The proper
item.
plug.
Yeah.
I got you.
But I'm telling you, this
plug.
cucumber was the biggest thing I've ever seen. I could not believe it.
Well,
How you lose a bowling pin? Or
People stick their fists and their forearms in their anus, too.
Okay, whoa.
Yes, they do.
Yes,
Yes, Gino is like,
They
no, that's
sell a fist at the sex store, and it looks like that because I've seen
Yep.
it, and it goes in there
Yep.
I've seen
Yep.
it.
at the
I've
sex store,
seen it.
and they sell
At the sex store, yes.
big dildos. I don't understand. Is that
Yes.
it's not healthy?
And
Are these for
well, they'll
giants?
never be able to shit
this
normally again.
giant?
That
This
is the whole
600-pound
problem.
life?
No.
My 600-pound life.
Miss Polly, is it also true that your asshole? I don't know, a normal way to say that. Medical way.
Anus, butthole.
Does it not
Your
go
anal
back?
sphincter.
Anal sphincter.
Does it not go back to
Sphincter.
tight? Does if you
No,
have a lot
it
of sex
won't.
in it, does it just get bigger?
It will.
That's what I.
You're going to tear and break down those muscles.
right.
Some people have to basically plug it up or wear
Leakage.
diapers if that's
Wow.
what
What I
they do.
thought.
I didn't know
Because
that.
there's anal leakage.
Oh,
That's what
God.
I've heard. That's what I've heard.
I didn't
Leakage.
It
That's terrible.
can happen.
Wow.
That's what I've heard.
It'll never
clarifying.
be normal again.
That's what I've heard.
Was it worth it? Cucumber.
Ralph, you firefighters get called on stuff like this as well, right?
We do.
Have you seen anything
Sexual
crazy? Hamsters,
problems.
anything like this?
Yeah.
You have.
Oh,
Yeah,
That's when the rookie's like, hey, rookie, you get to pull that out. It's not.
Well,
He's
you'll
like,
see.
I don't go to those calls anymore.
Well, that's true, but it's no, I've definitely seen some. I mean, your heart attack. A lot of times, heart attacks. Guys are having
During
sex. Yeah, guys are having sex. They're usually on.
Viagra or something.
Yeah, they're usually taking those kind of medications, and they have a heart condition. They know they're not supposed to do it usually, but they do it anyway. Or they have blood pressure issues, but
They
they're still
do.
taking those medications because they have erectile dysfunction. So it's like I'm with this.
they want to fuck.
They're like, I'm with this attractive woman, and she doesn't know this, but you know what? I'm gonna roll the dice and see what happens. And yeah, so you'll get there, and she's sitting there with a nervous look on her face, and this guy's like butt naked with a there's toys all around, and he's usually got a ring on, and or rubber bands around trying to So
Oh my God.
so you're working
Yep.
a guy to a full arrest, and then I had one of my firefighters. I won't mention his name, but it was one of the guys that were on the roof with me on the story I did. But we're we're doing compressions on this guy's chest. I mean, he's dying. He's dead, but he didn't die, but he was dead at the time. And
My goodness.
but so we're doing that, and I'm over here at the head. I'm like writing stuff down and taking turns doing compressions and stuff, and the other firefighter's like, is anybody gonna do anything about that? Because he's got this partial erection going, just kind of wagging around, and a rubber band around, a rubber band around. They're like, you want to like cut the rubber band or something like that?
They're like,
It's a little uncomfortable.
So funny.
It's like, I don't normally do this, but I'm pulling rank. No, I'm not cutting it. One of you guys know. So we let
But they're not supposed to have that on for more than 20 or 30 minutes.
Why will your penis fall off?
Just freaking blood.
Well,
it's like a tourniquet.
I know.
Yeah, it's like a tourniquet. You can do some damage.
like choking.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like choking.
Why is there a rubber band?
It keeps the
Yeah,
blood
they're trying to-
flowing.
Because they
So
don't.
hard.
Because they didn't go to a sex store and get a proper ring because they're stupid.
Yeah,
Sorry.
What ring?
It's a cock ring.
It's a cock ring.
I like to get my cock rings from Cock Ring Warehouse.
I don't know how nice to really say it. Cock ring warehouse.
I go to the big and tall store.
For those poor individuals that need to have a harder, longer erection, it helps them to trap the blood flow so they can get harder and stay harder longer.
Yeah. You young man, you don't know anything about
You
that.
don't have to think about that.
So there's your answer.
Especially as men age, they need those things.
Gina's
Poor
like,
guy.
oh God.
You're young.
You're gonna need one when you're 50.
She was like, don't say it.
I'll get back to you.
I'll get back to you.
Come see me when y'all need it.
That's so
All right,
funny.
Miss Polly, she'll help you.
Yes, I will.
Question of the day.
So funny.
Okay.
The two posh girls ask the question of the day.
You are out on a date. You go to their place after a date that was great, and the place is a total mess. Turn off, yes or no?
Horrible.
Horrible turn
Horrible.
Turn off.
Yes.
No.
Turn off.
Absolutely
Turn off.
Yes.
Absolutely turn
It
off.
depends on what they look like, but it'd be a turn off after that day.
It also depends on the mess, though, too.
Yeah, no, that has always been a turn off. That's just nasty. Because
Yeah, like a nasty home. Bad.
if they're going on a date and and you're back at their place, they already in their mindset have played
This
out
is
that
good, yeah.
they already played that you're probably going back to our place and they don't even care about that. It just
Yeah, because if my place is a mess, I'm like,
Yeah.
I just can't. I don't know. Can't
Yeah.
go out there.
Yeah,
right now.
no. I mean, you take your shit and throw it in the closet. I mean, take everything and throw it in the closet. Take all your dishes and dump it in the dishwasher. It doesn't have to be put together. Like
What
make
about a
it like.
dirty bathroom?
That's a,
No, so
that's the worst.
it depends on what you call dirty. Like, hear me out, because if it's like that, their makeup. Because I do get it. That's like a woman's usually where they do their stuff, their makeup, and their flat iron, and the curling iron. That doesn't turn me off too much. But if I get there and their stuff just looks, their living room looks like crap.
It all ties together.
Yeah, I don't care if someone's bed is made or not, but I mean,
I do. You have
don't.
to
I
make your
do.
bed every day.
yeah,
Oh,
but
yes.
if you have the point where you're going to bed, it doesn't matter because it's going to get unmade anyways on a date.
Make your bed every day, everybody.
But for me, that's not a turn off. But
Yeah.
if I go to their bedroom and there's crap everywhere, that's a turn off. If I see
And
dirty
it's
clothes,
dirty. I
yeah,
think
if I
it's
see dirty
dirty.
clothes and stuff, it's not vacuumed. That's nasty.
there's a difference between like a deal breaker or turn off. You know,
Right.
There's different levels of that. And there's also different levels of dirty. Like you're
Yeah.
saying, it's like,
Yeah, that's a good point.
is it like dirt and cat poop and
Oh, yeah.
that kind of
And it
dirty?
smells.
Does it smell like ammonia and
Yeah.
nastiness?
That's a deal breaker. That's a no.
That's a deal breaker.
that's
like,
a
you know
huge
what?
one.
I'm out. I don't even know what's
Or
going on.
guys who shave, like, oh my god, like in the bathroom, and they don't clean it,
Oh yeah.
like the hair everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand that. That's so gross to me.
Yeah.
My hair is everywhere.
I was literally about to say, as
like a
long as
dog.
your hair is, you probably have hair everywhere in your apartment.
Small animals, but I have a cleaning lady who comes and cleans it.
That's
For
too
me.
funny.
Spider, you didn't answer.
And for those of us that can't afford a cleaning lady, yes, I sometimes have stuff on my coffee table. Sorry.
Yeah, but does your place look like a total shithole before you go to
Oh,
date? You bring
no.
someone up. I think that's the
No.
point. If I get to someone's house and it's there's
If
stuff
someone's
that's
coming
disheveled, even if I get there and stuff's disheveled, I mean, you can tell if it's just there. you can tell if they're dirty or if they're not.
Right.
If it's just it's a little disheveled, stuff's out of
can,
place.
yeah.
It's not. That's not even kind of a deal breaker. But if it's just, it looks like they didn't give a shit. There's
Right.
stuff everywhere. There's,
I think you hit the nail right on the
But
head.
you can also tell a lot of times how people are just from their appearance. Now, if
I
their
don't know.
appearance is slovenly,
It's
See,
tough.
I got to disagree with you.
yeah, I
So
don't
here's
know.
why I got to
Really?
disagree with you. Yes.
Yeah.
So I had someone I went on a date with.
wow.
And very well put together. I went on a couple dates with this person, and and we went back to their apartment. This is after a couple of dates, and I mean, their apartment was, I've never seen anything like this in my life. It had been vacuumed, at least it looks like at least in 6 or 7 months. And I'm not making it up. I'm not casually saying that to you.
Wow.
It looks like there was like rust stains on the
toilet.
dishwasher.
Oh, the
like
dishwasher.
like little on the outside of the dishwasher. Like I've never seen a dishwasher that had rust on the outside, which just means that there was water and stuff that had been staying there for so long. It was so filthy. But they did not. If you saw them, you would never have thought they
lived like that.
Lived like that. But it was just so nasty. Like yeah. So I only disagree because I experienced that, and that was just bleh.
So yes, all
Big
around.
turn off.
Big time.
Okay.
Spider.
It'd probably just depend on how drunk I was.
There you go.
If I was pretty drunk, I wouldn't care. If I wasn't drunk enough, I'd probably just say, "You're filthy. I'm leaving."
Gino.
I'm not drunk enough for this shit.
I'm a neat freak, so my place is pretty clean all the time. Vacuum a couple times a week. If my place starts to get messy and it's not because of me, I'm not a happy camper. So
Yeah, I think Bernie, like I was going to say earlier, I think Bernie hit the nail on the head. It all has to do with the understanding that they know, you know what, you want to come back to my place with it? They're inviting you back there. That means that in their brain,
It's good to go.
I'm ready to go. Let's go have a good time. Let's
Yeah.
hang out at my place. Just move that cat over there. You're good. You know,
Move the
whatever.
litter box. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's
it's
fine.
and there's also you can tell if it's clean and they just left some clothes out on the couch there getting
Absolutely.
messy.
Right, exactly.
That's not dirty.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
messy and there's gross.
Yeah,
I don't want gross.
exactly.
Well, there's messy and then there's dirty.
Yes.
You're right.
And then there's funky.
Messy is. Oops, I forgot. Oops, I just washed my clothes and I have stuff hanging out. But dirty is dishes piled in the sink
Yes.
from weeks ago.
Moldy dishes.
No.
Oh my gosh, no.
There's a
No, no,
smell.
Science experiment.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, on that note, guys, everyone, thank you for listening.
Thank
and
you.
we'll
Thank
talk to you
you.
later, Miss Polly.